Hey guys, this is Josh with SoutheastPitReport.com, and I'm hanging out here with Gus from Young Guns. How you doing, Gus?
Good, mate. I'm all right. How are you today?
I am doing well. So you guys are currently on tour with Breaking Benjamin and Starset. How's it been?
It's been great. It's been maybe 10 days, something like that. I mean, after a little while, you get into this kind of place where you feel like you've been on tour forever, and the days lose all meaning. And so I think it's been about 10 days, but it's been a great tour so far. We were friends with the Breaking Benjamin guys already because we toured with them a few months ago over here. And we know the Starset guys because we played some festivals with them. So it's a nice kind of a atmosphere where everybody is friends. The shows are great, a bunch of beautiful venues like this. I have absolutely nothing to complain about. It's been brilliant.
Our things got a little rowdy last night in Virginia. Ben may or may not have had to stop the show to help a fan out.
Yeah, well, I think... there's obviously a real appetite for Breaking Benjamin. They've been away a long time, and I guess maybe sometimes people like overexert themselves, so get a little too enthusiastic. But Ben is a consummate showman, and he controlled the situation, and it was absolutely fine. But it does happen.
Yeah, I was glad to see he stood up for stuff like that, because a lot of times people will just come to shows and just be like running wide open.
Douchebags.
And don't worry about who's around them. And
I think it's really important that you take care of each other when you're in a show environment. People can get hurt, and you've got to be aware of that. You want to have a good time, but you got to be smart, and you have to take care of each other, and that's definitely been the case for almost all of the time. Last night was just a brief hiccup.
Yeah, it happens.
It does happen. I thought you were talking about after the show. I was like, yeah, we had some drinks. Why? What did you hear?
No, we actually had a reader submit a video from last night, and I was really proud, like I said, to see Ben stand up for the fans and things like that. I thought it was really cool.
It's good. It's important.
Let's jump right into it, man. You guys have a new record out. It's been out a little over 2 months, man.
Yeah. 8 weeks, 9 weeks, something like that.
Yeah. Called Ones and Zeros, correct?
That's correct, yes.
It's was it number 3 on the Billboard?
What is... Oh, right, sorry.
It was at number 3 on the Billboard, right?
Honestly, you know more than me. I hope so. You know what? It is our new record. We're really proud of it, and I hope this doesn't sound like I'm being lazy, because that's not what it is. But I learned a long time ago that it was really easy. It was best for myself to just really focus on what I consider to be the important parts of being in a band, and that is playing shows and communicating with people and connecting with your audience, and there's a real fulfillment in that. So the rest of the guys always have a go at me about it, but I try to ignore all of the kind of other stuff, statistics and social media things and like chart placements and stuff. I think they're really exciting, and so I don't mean to sound like blasé about it. I'm very grateful, and I'm very fortunate, but your head can kind of get lost in the clouds if you look at that stuff too much. And what matters is having a good show and talking to people and making sure they like your music, and that's the stuff that I focus on. And that's why this tour in particular is such a good one, because we've been treated very well and the response has been great.
Cool, man. Tell us a little bit about the title, Ones and Zeros. What's that all about?
So I'll try to keep the story short.
Sounds like there is a story to it.
Well, it's really very basically we whittled the potential album titles down to 2 things, and they were both song titles on the album. One of which is Ones and Zeros. The other one was called Memento Mori. Memento Mori is Latin for remember that you will die. And I thought, well, actually, even though I mean that in a positive way, maybe it sounds a little morbid. But the idea behind the whole record, or what I realized, was that the whole album was really a reflection of where we were when we were writing it. We'd just signed this deal in America, and we'd released Bones, and it had done so much better than we ever imagined that it would. The single itself went to number 1 on the rock charts, and again, not that I pay attention to that, but that was a big deal for us. Every song, I realized it's not a concept album, but every song was about similar ideas, and the whole point of it was what I noticed the recurring themes were the ideas of like not taking where you are at that point in time for granted, because everything in this world is very finite and very temporary. And that's something that when you're in a band becomes very apparent to yourself, because you live in a series of very temporary situations. You play a show and it's incredible, and it's done. It's gone. You release an album and it's this big thing, and then it's done and it's gone. So I realized, I was like, I'm going through all these amazing experiences in my life, and I'm wasting time thinking about the future or thinking about all this kind of external stuff like charts or whatever. And I just want to exist in this moment and be grateful for where I am, who I'm there with. And so the whole album is about human interaction and connections and sharing moments. And Ones and Zeros, I just felt was a slightly more like left field less obvious way of talking about the way that human beings connect and communicate with each other. And I thought, just as like a title, Ones and Zeros was kind of interesting and piqued the curiosity a bit, and it wasn't too obvious. So we went for Ones and Zeros.
Cool, man. So you guys are from London, correct? And so you guys have been blowing up for at least like the last 3 years here in the U.S., with Bones and now Ones and Zeros. What's it like being from London and seeing people, so far away from your hometown, just absolutely loving your music and things like that? Did you ever expect that when you released your first album that it would, be as popular as it is, now in the United States, and even your newest record?
We didn't expect that we would be here at all. It was never a part of our plans. We started this band, just a bunch of friends writing music together, and it grew very organically and naturally and quite quickly, to be honest with you. We put our first release out, which was just a 4-song EP, which was the first 4 songs we'd ever written as a band in 2009, and then our first album followed a year and a half later in the UK, and we were just on tour all the time. So it's only been like just over 5 years. I never thought we'd end up touring America once, let alone be releasing our second record here and all of that kind of stuff. So it really brings it home how fortunate you are. And when we're at home and we get messages of people saying, I'm listening to your song on the radio right now, I'm driving home from work in, wherever they are. And that's a pretty amazing thing. And we don't take it for granted. So being English as well, in America, you're constantly reminded of how far away from home you are, but not in a negative way, in a positive way. There's a sense of achievement in coming overseas and having an audience, and having a fan base that knows our music and loves our music, but also having the opportunity to play to new audiences, like on a tour with a band as popular and kind of successful as Breaking Benjamin. So we're very fortunate, and we try as hard as we can not to take it for granted.
When it comes from you guys being over in the UK, how much different is the music scene in the UK compared to like the US? Because you always hear like the US bands being like, oh well, I want to go overseas and I want to tour there and do this. Are there as many opportunities, so to speak, over there as what you would see here? Like, is the scene?
It's very different altogether. Like, it's across the board, everything is different. And there are almost too many ways to list. But one important one is that we don't have any rock radio.
Really?
At all. No. It doesn't exist. Most of our radio is nationalized, so it goes across the whole country. So you have stations like Radio 1, and because they're nationalized, like BBC Radio 1, and because they're nationalized, they cater to the broadest possible music taste, which is fundamentally top 40 and so on and so forth. So in terms of getting your music on the radio, it is quite an uphill struggle. So that element doesn't really exist, whereas we came over here and suddenly we had a song on the radio and it was going all over the country, and wherever we went, people knew that one song, and it really helped to kind of get the ball rolling quickly. So that's one difference. Another is that I would say that our audiences are predominantly a little younger in the UK. I think rock music in general is still a little more of like a niche genre. Yeah. Whereas over here you can get a rock song being #1, you could get like a hip hop song being #1, or a country song or pop song. It's broader. And so I think coming over here from a place like that, it's a real eye-opener, and it's really encouraging, because you're like, man, there's millions of people that like rock music. If we can just get out to them, then we can really do something special. That's a really encouraging feeling. But the good thing about the UK is because it is small, you can get something going relatively quickly. You can build an audience quickly through touring, because geographically it's small, so you can get all around the country, just buy a van, which we did. We bought a van off of eBay, and just slept in the back of it for 2 years and just toured constantly, playing to 2 people, then 10 and 20. So I think it's good for American bands to go over there, because you can get something started. Yeah. Because there's simply less people. Over here it's so big, it's daunting. But the potential is greater over here. So. Cool,
man. All right, so we're going to wrap this thing up.
Okay.
We're not going to go too much longer. I just got a couple of fun questions for you.
All right.
What's the oddest thing you guys, or you as a band member, have ever signed?
What's all the obvious things? I think probably we've definitely signed a couple of like prosthetic limbs, and that's always something. I mean, we'll sign anything. Yeah. We don't care. Like, if people are excited to meet us, that's great, and we'll do whatever we can to facilitate that. But that's definitely one of the more unusual things that we've signed.
So I've had a prosthetic leg, and then the guys in Family Force 5, I believe it was, they said they signed somebody's tooth one time. So I've had a tooth.
I don't know if I would do that. I think that's kind of gross.
And it was like her permanent tooth is what they were saying. It wasn't like a fake tooth or anything.
Wow.
Like she wanted like her actual tooth signed.
That's
like,
so funny.
Okay, you know.
All right, you're the boss in this situation.
All right, cool. And one last one. I'm a huge soccer fan. I know you guys call it football over there. And if you're from London, and if you tell me that you're not a soccer fan, then you're going to be one of the rare people I've ever met.
Well, I am.
Okay, good. Who's going to win the Premier League Cup this year? Is Chelsea going to keep it?
Well, I'm a Chelsea supporter, so I would like it to be Chelsea.
Me and Gus are new best friends. I just saw Chelsea play here in town on the Guinness Cup. I pre-registered for that. I was like, I'm buying tickets. I don't care. It's a whole lot cheaper for me to see them here in town.
Yeah, the preseason, huh?
Yeah, they were here. They played Paris.
PSG.
Yeah,
Paris
PSG.
Saint-Germain, yeah.
But
yeah.
Who's going to win it this year? Is
well,
Chelsea going to keep it?
We haven't had a great start to the season. 1 draw, 1 defeat. Not fantastic, but I believe that we have the best manager in the world in terms of football or soccer. And so, yeah, I'm still backing us to win the title again.
Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and plan a trip to London. We're going to stay at your house.
All right.
And we're going to go see a game.
Yep, I just went to see them lose to Arsenal in the Charity Shield a few weeks ago. That was kind of annoying.
That was rough.
Yeah, but we're still going to win. It's fine.
Yeah. Luckily, though, when they played PSG here in town, like they had to come down to a shootout, and like I was goal side.
Oh wow!
And the shootout was right there on my goal.
That's cool, man.
It was great. First time I've actually got to see them play live, see soccer played live.
Excellent.
And
you liked it?
Oh, I loved it.
It's nothing better,
I'm
man.
really trying to talk my wife into flying over to London to go see them play at home. But every time we look, it's like $4,000 for us to fly over there.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's a long way away. It's tough. So, I can imagine that. Yeah.
But all right, well, guys, this is Josh with SoutheastPitReport.com, and this is Gus with Young Guns. And thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Give it to me.